Last week we showed you the Tamron 28 to 75mm mid-range zoom lens for Sony E-mount cameras. Today I'm sharing a little bit more info because we actually had two lenses borrowed from Tamron at the same time. And in fact, 4 other lenses were also being reviewed. We've been a little bit lens crazy lately with definitely no signs of slowing down, but today's Tamron is the Tamron 20mm f2.8 Di3 OSD. Let's go over the basics of this Tamron wide-angle prime lens. 20mm focal length, so pretty wide, wider than the 24 to 70mm f2.8 zooms that I have kicking around back there. We've got f2.8 as the widest aperture. I always want more, like the f1.4 from the Sony 24mm G Master, but for one, this is wider than the G Master, and 2, it's more compact. Also, the very special and close to my heart 24mm G Master retails for $1,400 here in the US, while the Tamron 20mm retails for about $300. That's an exciting financial difference. And for that radical difference, I am willing to make some concessions for the Tamron. That being said, going into this review with some of the amazing third-party lenses Raymond and I have reviewed recently, we don't prejudge third-party lenses anymore, and we weren't sure that we'd even have to make any concessions. We've used some great performers lately, so each time we're prepared to be impressed, both with the capability and with the price. We loved taking this lens around, and we knew we'd be bringing it out for some late-night astrophotography. This wide-angle fast prime lens practically begged to be taken out for some Milky Way shots. And the results, they did not disappoint. We pushed this lens hard. One thing that Raymond and I have learned over the years is that astrophotography really puts a lens to the test in a few different ways. For example, there's a huge difference in rendering of stars between a premium lens like our Sony 24mm G Master and our old compact Nikkor 24mm f2.8. Modern prime lenses can be large and bulky, but they also have corrective elements and coatings that were never dreamed of a few decades ago when some of the classic primes were designed. The Tamron does a fine job. Some coma on the stars near the edges when shooting wide open at f2.8, but when we look at the entire image, instead of zooming in to 400%, everything is rendered as we'd like. And again, these are tough tests for any lens, and we are impressed with how this $300 prime ran through our Astro ringer. And yes, our first Camp Astro of 2020 is filmed and ready for broadcast very soon, so stay tuned if cameras, camping, astrophotography, or some combination of those things gets you up in the morning. Or maybe get you up at night, as the case may be. This lens does natively have barrel distortion. If you are shooting RAW, as we did for this test, the camera won't help you compensate for distortion on this lens or even native Sony lenses. However, here's how it works in Lightroom, because Lightroom has a profile for this lens. From this to this. Done. Also, it can focus at about 5 inches away from the sensor, enough for a 1 to 2 macro capability, and that is really cool when it comes to getting something really in the foreground, which can make for superb wide-angle shots. In short, this lens is a gem. It handled everything we threw at it, and it fits the form factor of our Alpha 7 R4 like a glove. It's perfect in proportion to the camera, and an overall sleek and quality design. It's functional, but like gear many times its price, it has had attention to design and details driven by its function. Just a couple more notes. There is no optical stabilization in the lens. Frankly, at 20mm, we don't see an issue with this, and depending on your Sony camera body, you may have in-body image stabilization, which is truly optimal at wider focal lengths like 20mm. What you do have is weather sealing and dirt resistance. Great to see on a lens at a price where I'd give it a pass on that, but I don't need to give it a pass because it has it. Okay, it's that time now. Who's on Team Tamron? And if you are, or you've been looking at a Tamron or a Sigma, Viltrox, or one of the many other third-party brands, what should I review next? You've seen me review Nikon brand, Sony brand, and even some Fujifilm and Canon lenses for years. Should I keep going with this third-party kick? And if so, which lenses? Let me know down in the comments. And also, has there been a third-party lens that has knocked your socks off for its performance, capability, and maybe even its price? Let us all know that in the comments as well. But before you go commenting, give this video a like if you found it helpful or you enjoyed looking at my photos. Subscribe and click the bell to see more of my videos, and thank you for watching. We'll talk again soon.